Hi, this is Bob, and today's 10-minute tour is on print journal organization. The last few videos I've stepped across it a few times, and it's something that really does save some time, both in creating the print journals and in finding one at a later date. In the old days, we used to print every journal out on paper, and we'd put them in a binder, and you never ever looked at them again. Then we went to where we named the journals ourselves, and so we give it a name like checks followed by today's date, and if you did a second batch it'd be checks 2 followed by today's date and so on. So I don't remember what version of the software came along, but in it they created this print journals function that we use now, and it works pretty slick. So I'm going to go into a few different spots. I believe it's in General Ledger that you go in and set up journals. So you go in here, and initially you're going to give a whole bunch of different journals names. Yes, and they're over on this screen. So in here you go in and you tell it what it is and whether you want it to increment reference 1. You give an abbreviation and a title, so I'll jump in here so you can sort of see. So AP Invoices Journal, I gave number 22. APIN is what it shows for the abbreviation. It increments every reference, and it's a standard one. Recurring and auto-reversing are normally going to be limited to I think there's recurring AP invoices, and there's recurring journal entries and auto-reversing journal entries. So that's the first step, is to set up your journals in there. Chances are you already have that done. I'm going to go down further. There we go. Once you have that done, you go back to here and you go into Common Tasks. File Locations, and you want to go down to the section that's pretty far down, Printouts. And so you map on here. You may need to get your IT person involved, but I basically created in the data folder of Timberline Office a folder called Print Journals. And so that's the folder that all my printouts go into. Then you go into Customize, and you come over here to Not Appearance. Am I in the wrong spot? I am. You come in here under Common Tasks Options. There we go. Journals. So we tell it to automatically print the journals to a file. So whenever you go to close out of AR and it's going to post and print a journal, it does it automatically, prints it to a file. And in here, there's a whole bunch of things that you can select, and it organizes them in that order. So you could have the user's name first, so that if you eventually get rid of Billy Bob, you can just delete Billy Bob and all the files for him will disappear. Or you can do it like we do. We do year first, then the username, then the application, then the task name. So we don't use month or day in this. So it creates, in the journal files folder, it creates a folder for year, and then under that it creates folders for each user, and under that it creates folders for each application, and under that it creates a folder for each task. So Enter Invoices in AP would sort of be 2020, Bob White, AP, Enter Invoices. Then the file itself you can use any of those same things for. So here we use year, month, day, and time. So it gives a unique file name for each one. And it's easy to sort by because it's sort of in order. You want the earlier years at the top or at the bottom, you just sort one way or the other. And then it'll put it in the right order for you. We really don't need year in it because it's in the 2020 folder up here, but that's sort of how we set it up. And so once you've got that all, you say OK. And now when I go out and I do a process and post or close a task that I'm doing, and it goes and creates that print journal, to find those, you come in under Common Tasks, and you go to Printouts, and you go to the year that you have it in this case 2020. You go to the user, so that's all our different users. And then under that user, the modules. So you'll see I'm in all the modules, where if I come up and I go to like her, she's already P clerk, so she's only normally going to be in there. So you come to the folder application and then what they were doing. So if I was entering invoices, it would be this one. I double click that, and then each print journal is going to be here, and in this case it's by earliest first. Change that, and now the earliest is at the bottom and the most current's at the top. So you can see you could do it by either date modified or this, but since the file is saved with that format, it works on file name just the same as it would for date modified. And then if you want, you just go into that folder, bring it up, and you can sort of see the whole entry. Print it out if you need to. And I know I was going to go into something else here, and can I remember what it was? I'll eventually come to it. Oh, so you can organize these the way you prefer. You can keep the history. You can see we've got them going back to 2017 when I come into printouts. Yeah, back to 2017 was when we set this up. So if you at some point decide I don't need these journals from 2017 anymore, it's as simple as going there and deleting it, and all those journals are gone. I'll be honest, I very seldom have to look at print journals, but sometimes it's kind of handy, especially if you find something that wouldn't post and you're saying, well, how long has that been coming up? That's the one disadvantage of saving everything to a print journal, is you don't look at them very often unless you run into a problem. But you can always roll back and see when that problem occurred. I know one other thing that we had a problem with this, and so this would involve IT getting in there. But we had a gal in the office who wanted to, it was bonus time, and she decided she'd be nosy and find out what everybody's bonuses were. So she was able to go in here and go into the person who did our AP, or our payroll, and zoom into them and go look at payroll and see what rates had been changed and so on. So the way around that is to have your IT guy come in and set permissions for each named folder here, so that only I or somebody with a higher level permission can see that one. He's my assistant, so I could see him. He couldn't necessarily see me. I can see everybody's because I have administrative rights and so on. So they have to set those securities, because these are really just Windows Explorer kind of folders, so you can get into them pretty easy, and that's what she did. So as soon as we figured out what was up, she started complaining. I went in through the log viewer and found out that where she'd been snooping, and we replaced her, and we set up some rules here as far as who could see stuff. So make sure your IT gets involved when you do something like this, because it does leave it out there in the pretty exposed spot if you don't. All right, that's it for today's 10-minute tours. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.